Hey, happy Motivational Monday. All right, so I'm feeling really fired up from this past weekend. A couple days ago, I saw a video that came out over the weekend of Nick Foles at a press conference. So Nick Foles used to be the Eagles quarterback when he won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and afterwards he ended up getting traded to Jacksonville, to the Jaguars. And earlier this season, he was only a couple games into the season, he ended up breaking his collarbone and going on the injured list. So he hasn't played football for a few weeks. And so he was at a press conference. They were asking him questions about this. How does it feel to see these younger guys playing football when you can't? How does it feel like being injured? Coming to a new team and getting injured, things like that. It really got me fired up. And he was talking about this. And he said that when he was after he broke his collarbone, he felt a break. He was going back to the locker room. He said, "God, I don't know if this is why, I don't know why you're bringing me here to Jacksonville for this to happen. But whatever happens, I'm going to give you glory through it." And he goes on to say, too, when he's talking about this more, he says that when he knows his true identity is in Christ. And his purpose is not to play football. His purpose is to impact people. And that just really hit home for me, thinking about, why we do what we do, right? Because God didn't put us on this earth to have a job, to hold this position, to make this much money, to get this degree. That's not what our purpose is. Our purpose as Christians, as children of God, is to impact his people and make a difference here on earth for his kingdom in heaven. So seeing Nick Foles, who has this position, a great position, he's well known, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, he makes all this money, he has all these great things, and so sometimes we wish we had, but at the end of the day, he knows that his purpose is still coming back to Christ. His purpose is still not in the money, not in the endorsements, not in all the media attention. It's in Christ. He's always bringing his faith back into it and keeping himself focused. That's why he keeps his purpose and his message focused too, to do his purpose in impacting people, right? And he says that my purpose isn't football, it's impacting people, and my ministry happens to be the locker room, which I thought also really got me too. Thinking about a locker room's not your first place you think of impacting people, right? You think of churches or nonprofit organizations or big celebrities doing big things, out in big media events, things like that. But you don't think about a locker room being a place where someone can encounter Jesus through someone else. Just we might not think about someone at Wawa or someone at Walmart, or going to walking down the street saying hi to someone, or going to a park with your kids and watching your kids play with another parent there watching them too, or whatever it may be, whether it's your office at work, whether it's a big board meeting, whatever it could be, school, whatever it could be. These ways of we can find places no matter where it is, places we might not expect or we might not think of as traditional godly places to impact people for Christ. And so I love it in Mark's Gospel, chapter 16, verses 15 through 17. The last thing Jesus says before he ascends into heaven, the last thing he tells his apostles in Mark's Gospel, is to go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. That's your goal. The last thing you're getting told is the biggest thing. He came back from the dead, he's resurrected. All these big things just happened these last 40 days, so I'm with you. The last thing I want you guys to do is to go into the world and preach my message, preach the gospel. And whether it's the disciples back then, or it's his disciples who are us now, that's his purpose with us. That's why he came for us. That's why he came back to tell us. He didn't come back. He easily could be resurrected and that was it. But he came back. He spent time with his disciples, and the disciples were all these things that he taught them, and all these encounters afterwards. And they wrote the Gospels in order that we may continue preaching that message from Jesus and going out and spreading his message. And I also really got me too, because we were talking about this over the weekend at my church too, and the pastor brought up that in the King James Version, in the NIV, the New International Version, it says to preach the gospel to all creation. But in the King James Version, in different other translations, it says to preach the gospel to every creature. Which, you think of I'm not going to preach my cat, I might, sit and read the Bible with my cat, but I'm not going to preach the gospel, read the Bible to my cat. You should be showing your animals and your pets and love and other creatures, love through, as Christ showed each other love. But what he said too is when it says about preaching the gospel to every creature, it's not just earthly creatures, but spiritual creatures like demons and things that we don't see in this world, in this earthly realm, but spiritual creatures, spiritual realm that's against God, or working with the devil. Preaching the gospel out to all creatures can mean things that aren't of this world, but things that we need to get rid of anyway. Things we need to attack with God's truth and His word and His light to demolish whatever, they're trying, whether we see them or not. The demons and the creatures of the spiritual realm want to attack us too. And it's hard because sometimes we can't see it, but we can feel it in our minds, in our bodies, things that happen to us. So if we can go out and preach His gospel to every creature, including the creatures that are against us, creatures we can't see, it makes us stronger as Christians and as a community of faith believers all together too. And Jesus goes on to say too that when we preach the gospel as His disciples, there'll be signs like driving out demons, speaking in tongues, so you can pick up snakes and drink poison, not be hurt by them, and lay hands on sick people and they'll be healed. And those things, those are all signs that go along with preaching the gospel. Whether it's a literal sign, like literally, speaking in tongues, or whether it's literally, putting, it's not always going to be literal things like putting someone's hand on like an open wound and it heals up like Superman. It's not literal things like that too, but driving out demons, things like, talking with someone going through addiction, talking with someone who's going through depression, driving out demons might not look like putting your hands and having an exorcism moment, right? Like the movies. It's not always that dramatic. But putting your hands on someone to drive out a demon, or just speaking truth to a situation and helping to bring hope, that's driving out demons, It might not be speaking in tongues as like some beautiful like prophetic prayer or something, but something as simple as, speaking a tongue of love, speaking a tongue of, giving someone a smile who's having a bad day, someone speaking a tongue of, just of compassion to someone, speaking a tongue of, empathy to someone. Something that might not be a literal, like, verbal thing, but our body language is a way of speaking to someone, right? So giving someone a hug, having your body open to, help someone feel like more welcome in a new situation or a new meeting, whatever it could be at your job. That's a way of speaking in tongues and showing signs of, as a believer of Christ, of you preaching the gospel and sharing His word with others, right? I mean, for me personally, I know I do stuff in my church, I'm very involved there, but I'm also a stagehand. I'm also a personal trainer. Like, you don't think about going into a theater company or into a concert venue, and that's where someone could encounter Jesus. Or going to, the studio here and taking a workout class and sweating for a half hour, an hour, whatever it could be, encountering Jesus there, right? But I personally, I've had opportunities to do that. There's a really moment sticks out to me was I was working at a theater job in Philly one day, and it was at a theater I hadn't worked at before. So I was working with this new people, and this one girl I was working with, well, she was a little bit older than me, I guess, a couple years older, and she just had an attitude, and she had this negative attitude, this negative temperament, and her language was the language she was using. You could tell she was not Christian, and you could tell she was just someone that was not in a good mood. And I spent all day working with her, early morning to mid-afternoon, and I was tired of her. I'll be honest. I was not in a good. She brought my mood down. I didn't really want to be around her. It was that kind of place where like the way she was talking and speaking and working, I just was kind of like tired of her. So I'm like, but I tried being nice. I wasn't mean. I was just I tried to avoid her, help not get in too much contact with her, and it was what it was. So we went to. We took our break when the show happened. We had come back at that night to strike the show, take all the concert stuff down. So as I got in the car, I sat there in the parking lot. First, I prayed for a parking spot because it was on South Street in Philly. So I prayed to God, found a good parking spot on the side of the road, and I just prayed. I'm like, God, give me strength to get through tonight. Give me strength to deal with her and to, let me just use me as you need me to and help me to get through this night because I didn't want to have to go back and see her again, deal with her for 4 more hours. So I got back, and I got to the concert venue, and the show was still going on. So we sat, the technicians were there. We sit there, and we'll watch the end of the show, and we'll just wait for, it to be over. So I sat down next to her, and she was, she starts talking to me like, she said she was tired, she was drinking. She actually was drinking before the show on her break, and she said she admitted to me she was still a little drunk. She's had, feeling a little bit, which also not my, I'm also like, well, frustrated. Well, why are you drinking before you come to work? Like, that can't be a thing. And she wasn't like really drunk, but she was, someone's like a little loose, still whatever. So, but in this state, this way she was, she starts in the middle of a concert, in the middle of, it's loud and everything. She starts opening up to me how she's been going through a lot. She's been going through another cancer possible diagnosis. She was going through She had a 5-year-old daughter she was telling me about, and she was worried about not being able to take care of her if she had cancer, not being able to, live to see her grow up if she had cancer again, worried about how she might not be able to keep working and provide for her daughter, and how things with the father wasn't going well, so that, her boyfriend was stepping at the time, and things were, legal things were going on, and she just started opening up to me in such a way that I was just struck of, like, this is not the woman who I talked to, who I was working with 7 hours ago, who was, using this language and so full of, like, this arrogance, this confidence, and this, like, negativity. But she starts opening up in such a vulnerable way. And I took that moment. I'm like, I don't know what to say. So I'm like, God has a bigger plan for you than this. God's not trying to, God's not looking to God, this isn't God's plan for you. God's plan for you is not to not provide for you, not to help you through this. Like, He will give you the strength to get through this. You can get through this. And I wasn't gonna, I don't know if she was Christian or not, but I just started telling her, like, God's got bigger plans for you than this. I prayed to God, like, God, what do I say? And He just started telling me what, giving her strength, giving her confidence, giving her reassurance that He loves her, He loves her daughter, and that He was going to work through this with them. Whether she knew it or not, He already had a plan for her that was greater than this, and that she was going to get through this. And she ends up just wiping her tears and giving me a hug, and, like, the rest of the night, she had sobered up by that point, but at the rest of the night, then she was hardworking, she had a different, tone about her. And it was just such a miraculous thing to see, like, someone I didn't want to talk to, someone I didn't want to spend a lot of time with, who just opened up to me, because I was willing to let God do His thing. And that right there was a moment where, I wasn't planning to. I wasn't, you're at a loud concert venue, some like electric dance. I don't know who was singing the concert, so I don't even know what the music was. But here's this random moment, and God's like, nope, He brings people together for a reason. He brings you to people that need to hear His message. And He brings people to you that you need to learn from too. I need to learn to be less judgmental. I need to learn not to, let people affect me so much, and to hear the heart behind someone's issues. So, God brought us together, both of us, to learn lessons, and He's going to do the same thing with you. So that's why He brings us these peace positions and gives us this truth inside, so we can go out and share the gospel, no matter what position He puts us in. The same thing as a personal trainer too. Same thing, it's someone's having a half-hour workout. It's not like I'm not going to sit there and preach a half-hour sermon to them. The part of my job as working on their health and their nutrition and their fitness is also their mental and their emotional health too. So if someone comes up, I ask how they're doing, and I can tell at this point because I have such regular clients. If someone's having a bad day, I can tell that. I can gently gently ask them, or gently dig a little deeper and try and see what they're dealing with. And working on their emotional and their mental health too, that's part of your overall health, right? So there's been times when I've had clients who have, been going through situations like this. And, and we'll finish our workout, but when I'm done working out with them, I'll say, do you want me to pray for you? Like, how can I, do you want to pray together? Or I'll give them a Bible verse to, if I know they're Christian, I'll give them a Bible verse for them to look at. And if I know they're not, or if they're not, like, completely, spiritual, I'll still speak some truth to them. I'll still, I can still speak truth to them and say, like, there's a greater plan for you than this. You have so much, there's so much potential, so much strength inside, and help them to work through this, And whether or not they know it, I'll still pray for them too. My ones who are Christian, well, I'll pray for them, and I'll tell them we're praying for them, and we'll pray together sometimes. But there's ones I know who aren't Christian or have no religious beliefs. That's fine. I pray for them anyway. God's not gonna, deny my prayers because of someone else's beliefs. Even better yet, I pray that they will find Jesus and find God, and He can reveal Himself through the situation they're going through, right? Not just giving them the testimony, but giving me a testimony to show them, hey, look, remember that time this happened? Well, I'm so glad, like, thank God you're feeling better because I prayed for you, and, like, help them to reveal things that way too, It also says here in 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 12, 1 Peter 2 is about living a godly life in a pagan society, which is what we all kind of are living with right now, right? So verse 12, he says that though they accuse you of doing wrong, basically he says, even though to keep doing what we were doing, to keep living out Christ, even if you're in a pagan society, in an atheist society, in a non-believing culture, a culture where you're not supposed to talk about religion or spirituality or anything like that at the workplace, Peter says to keep doing that anyway. that though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on that day he visits us. So yes, it might not be politically correct to invite someone to church. It might not be politically correct to say, hey, how can I pray for you? To walk into a restaurant and leave a Bible verse on a receipt. Or, to walk up to a register and pray with someone, as you're getting checked out at the grocery store. Whatever it may be. It might not be politically correct. It may not, But guess what? In the end, it's not about what society says, it's what God says. So even though, someone else's salvation, someone else's answer to you, is on them. So as long as you present the opportunity, that's all God's asking you to do. God's not asking you to save them, to personally save them always for you. That's his job. That's Jesus' job. And his grace and his sacrifice on the cross, Jesus is giving them salvation, not you. Your job is to give them the opportunity to be saved, the opportunity to come to healing, to come to know Jesus, not just through your words, but through your actions too. So if they say, no, I don't want that, or no, that's weird, or no, that's dumb, don't talk to me again, okay, you tried. And just, guess what? You can still pray for them on your own, okay? They don't have to know you're praying for them. But you can just, you can pray by yourself. And that's what it's all about. That's not about forcing people into religion. It's not about forcing people to accept prayer or to, come to Christ or to reveal their deep, dark secrets to you. That's okay. People who want to be in the dark will stay in the dark. But it's your job is to bring the light. And whether they want to accept that light and walk into that light or not, it's their own legs, right? You open the door, you shine the light, and whether they come towards or against you is on you. I was praying to God about this, about someone who I've been praying hard for this person to come to Christ. And he told me that I can't drag them into the light, because if you drag someone into the light, just like, I think of a vampire, right? Weird example, but listen. So think of a vampire, right? If you drag them into the light, they get burned by the light and they want to go back into the darkness. The same way with this person, that's what God told me. Because they're so full of demons, they're so full of, the work of the enemy, they're so full of, being clouded by their past, that if I dragged them into the light of Christ, they would get burned by it and come all the way back. Like a sunburn, right? You get dragged out and you get in so much pain, you don't want to go back into the sun, you want to stay in the darkness. And that you can't drag someone into that light. Because you drag someone in, it's going to cause them more pain. It's going to cause them more discomfort. It's going to cause them to feel shame or to feel excluded, whatever it may be, and want to crawl right back to the darkness. Your job is to shine the flashlight. Your job is to be the light. Here's the flashlight, and wait for them to step towards the flashlight to come to you instead, right? To come to Christ in their own time, in their own way. And then as long as you're doing your job is to spread the gospel, to be the light of Jesus through your words, through your actions, through your love. That's our job as Christians. And that's our job on Motivational Monday, right? Our job is to come to Christ and with his truth and share that gospel, share that truth, share the love with anyone else we can. Whether it's our words, whether it's through, an invitation to church, whether it's through prayer, whether it's in person, or whether it's personal, quiet, by yourself pray for someone. That's our job as Christians, to share the gospel and pray for those who, whether they accept us or not, just pray for those who need it most. All right? Just like Nick Foles said, it's about impacting people, it's about finding your purpose and impacting people, and whatever that ministry happens to be, whether it's the football locker room, whether it's the Wawa parking lot, whether it's the grocery store or the Walmart register line, whether it's here at the studio, whether it's in your cubicle, whether it's in your nonprofit organization, whether it's in your for-profit organization, whether it's whatever organization, whatever place you may be in that moment, that's your ministry. That's the place God put you to serve people, to serve him, and to impact people for his kingdom. All right? So, love you guys. I know it's a little bit long today, but I'm really fired up about this. I'm telling you, it's been a really good weekend. All right, so go out today, get fired up, find his truth for your own life, and believe it, and really internalize it here, so it can come out here, right? The more we can internalize it here and know what we have, the more we can share it with confidence and with joy and with compassion and love for those who need it most. All right, love you guys. Have a great Motivational Monday, and I'll see you soon.